Good, we made it. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. It's so weird saying that when it's actually Monday morning, but I'll keep saying it because actually, there's a lot of things that we say that have really very little relevance to reality. Good. Okay. So people are quickly. Okay. Good. You guys are joining. Instagram just loads up like that. Everybody else is good. Anyway, good morning, good evening, and it's either April 13th or 14th, depending on your perspective, depending on which side of the planet you're on. Oh, that's right. There's only two sides to the planet, right? The top and the bottom, because the planet is flat. It's a flat planet. I forgot. Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm kind of old. I guess you call it old school because it's just called physics. I was just trying to figure out the physics. I'm ready. I'm willing to accept anything. I'll even accept the fact that men get pregnant. Just tell me how. I just need to know how. How did they get pregnant? What's the biology? And then and for the flat planet, just give me the physics. I'm trying to picture it. Are we? We're still in the. We're still in Newtonian, right? There's Newtonian physics. Good morning, Donna, Cheryl. Cool. People are just popping up. That's beautiful. All right. So, thank you, Donna. Binders. The question about binders. There's different kinds of binders, but I like humic and fulvic acids because they don't bind usually stuff. Things that are nutrients, right? They're pretty much grab the bad stuff. So, and there's a lot of places you can get it. Like Cellcore makes one, makes it. It's called biotoxin. Yeah. So, but there. I mean, there. So that's what I use. So it's good. Fumic and fulvic acid. Okay. Great. Okay. Now, so hey, okay, by the way, going back to the insanity that I have an awesome for all to read called Breath. Ah, very good. Very good. Hey, Marley. Good morning. Good evening. It's called Breath by James Nestor. It's got to be good. That's a great title. I mean, the breath is your life. It's where God hangs out in your body. I mean, if you had to give it a location. Anyway, oh my gosh, poor everybody. All right, so let's get on with it. So I just want to remind everyone. So I'm going to migrate over to just doing X because YouTube is flagging me for some reason. I mean, I'm controversial. They have I mean, and TikTok wants nothing to do with me because I talk about this stuff. Whereas if I were talking about, I don't know, pedophilia, that would be fine. I can talk about I could talk about or bestiality or something weird. That's totally cool. But talking about like health and stuff, it's like no, man, we're not into that. So anyway, so eventually I'm going to be cut off everything because I'm not talking in the community standard. I'm not within the community standards. Believe me, if talking about health and how to maintain it or restore it, if that's not in the community standards of or guidelines on legitimate, worthwhile conversation, then I'm in the wrong community because that's in my community. That would be kind of like something to talk about, not whether, not which. Well, I mean, which bathroom should they use? Well, doesn't it depend on their pronouns? Yeah, that's important. We gotta think about that. I'm gonna focus on that. I'm gonna spend all week trying to figure out what bathroom people should use, and I think it is very much predicated on their pronouns. Yeah, I don't know, man, but it's something worth spending my time on. Health. Let's not talk about health. There's no such thing. You're not going to be healthy. You're going to get sick. You're gonna die young. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So that's why you got to go to a doctor from the beginning. You could. You're not going to be taken to the doctor. You're going to be born in the hospital. The reason we're going to have you born in the hospital is because we have decided, we and the Rockefeller crime family have decided that pregnancy is a disease. Yeah. It's not something that something gets into you. What is it that gets into you? It's called sperm. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so but it's a disease, and therefore it has to be overseen by a doctor. A physician needs to oversee your pregnancy. Okay. And then when the baby comes out, we have to immediately slap it on the ass and then quickly start putting stuff in its eyes and giving it injections immediately. So, wow, I just saw this coolest bird. It looks like wow, I don't even know. Anyway, really big bird just landed on the top of that roof over there. Jeez, you'd think I'm somewhere exotic, like, I don't know, Southeast Asia or something. Looks like it. Anyway, so you're born in the hospital because we don't want to have you take the baby to the doctor. We want the doctor to be there when it's born. You immediately start. And the mother, you better get some insurance. What is insurance? Insurance is making sure that the hospital gets paid. All right, so now we're going to do that. And then if by some odd, bizarre chance your baby is relatively healthy, you bring them in. You bring them in anyway. We'll call it a health check, but we're going to make sure that the baby gets sicker and sicker and sicker. That's right. And then you get regular. Do you realize that if you talk to someone, or you're talking to someone at work or whatever, and they'll say, "So who's your doctor?" As if someone says, "Who's your mother?" or "How's your mother?" or whatever. Well, I don't have a doctor. What? You don't have a doctor? What's wrong with you? Yeah. So anyway, so we have a great society here. It's a society that ensures that we are we going to get sick, and we're going to be taking drugs, and we're going to be dependent, we're going to be stupid our whole lives, and then we're going to die in the end, usually in an ICU and all sorts of machines swallowing us up. So you'll die in an ICU being swallowed up by machines. You're born, and the minute you're born, what's the doctor do? Hi, no, bah, slap on the ass. Hey, welcome to planet Earth. Now we're gonna get you, and that's it. Anyway, now but if I talk about another way to live, then I'm like totally like I gotta be censored. Oh, but you want to talk about preteen transgenders? That's fine. That's fine. Which bathroom should the preteen transgenders use? There's a good one for you. You guys get back to me on that one. Anyway, I think I got off on the wrong stop here. Is this really planet Earth? Are we still on planet Earth, you guys? I mean, because I'm like, what? Flat, men get pregnant, children are changing their what? Don't talk about health, talk about your mind on when is your website person. Good question. The question about the website, it's uh listen, I'm not part of that whole thing. So, but it's very close. Believe me, it's very close to getting that together. We're gonna be able to get all these medications. All right. So you have this woman saying she has the BRCA gene, the BRCA gene. That's something we can talk about. I think we should talk about BRCA a little bit. Yeah. Truth the truth is not within the community guidelines. So anyway, as you all know, we're going to migrate over to X because we have to, and so start watching it on X. And because I know Instagram and Facebook are going to one day just. YouTube just sent us a notice saying that one more violation, and I didn't know I was getting violated. What did I get violated? Got violated for. It was a video about. I was talking about the Gerson diet or something. I guess I don't know. I was answering a question. I don't know what it was, but they deleted the video and they gave me a notice that I was talking about the Gerson diet. And that's not community standards. Had I been talking about the money what a deal. You can take the whole family out for a Sunday night dinner, probably for less than $10. The whole family, kids, everybody, at KFC or Burger King. Yeah, and everybody will get full, and it's delicious. Yeah. Now that I can talk about. That would be fine. So you see, the world we live in is we have two choices. We either change it or we got to get off this planet. We got to find a way out of this planet, off the planet, because it's been taken over. It's been taken over. Fantastic, everybody. Hey, thank you guys so much. Nipple discharge after taking Fenbend, breast cysts getting smaller. Echinococcus. Wow. Okay. I want to let me. Okay. I gotta try to stay like it at least on one line here. So bear with me, you guys. So I just want to remind you all that we're on all social media except for TikTok, because I violate the community standards all the time. And at Dr. Thomas Lodi. Of course, Dr. is Dr. Thomas Lodi. And except for X, formerly known as Twitter, I'm at Dr. Thomas Lodi, MD, right? MD, mythology doctor. Remember that. And then that's it. And or you can go to the website drlodi.com/live, and then you can live stream from there. YouTube, they don't like me at all. Even LinkedIn, and so now the groups they're getting cool. They're getting a little bit bigger. But you know what's weird is no matter how many people that sign up, it's always like the same. Because I do like twice a week. I do Zooms like this, but it's just us, and I can actually say things that are. I can say the unspeakable, the unthinkable. It's called the truth. It's unthinkable. I don't want you to think about the truth, but I do. But anyway, what's weird is that it's always the same. It's like the same 10 people. Wakarimasen. Wakarimasen. I don't understand. Anyway, so I don't understand very much. And the longer I live, the more I study, the more I realize I know less today. I know less today than I did yesterday. So health and healing, the parasite group, and the CFC group, and the health and healing group. By the way, coming, I think it's May. Going to be May. Is it? Are we in it? Yeah, we're April, right? I think it's May 1st. Around that is when Vanessa and Darren are going to start. I hope you all had a chance to see that when they were on a couple weeks ago on our Sunday Night Live. But I had them introduce themselves and all that. I thought it was great. So what I've asked our team to do is to extract that part of it out of the live and start putting it out there so you guys can see. Yeah, you're welcome for broadcasting live. I love it. I mean, there's one more doc. There's one more. One more doc. Hi, Gail. Hi there. You're new, not to the planet. You're just maybe new to this group, but that's fine. That's good. Well, welcome everyone, and you, Gail. You can't afford CFC group. Okay. Well, do the CFC group. The health and healing group. Join the health and healing group because we will be able to talk about anything. No. Anyway, join these groups, and so Darren and Vanessa are going to be on there, and then also Garfield for the raw chef to teach. So we're going to have all this stuff as just part of the membership, in addition to hearing my madness, right, and interacting with me. So now, what else are we doing? So that's it, right? Okay. Turn off your VPN. Turn on some lights. That's the instructions. So those are actually old instructions from last year when I was more techno illiterate in those days. By the way, you folks, I had to prepare for that lecture I gave the other night. For me, it was night. For you, it was probably a Saturday morning. I don't know if you all had a chance to see it. What was that show? What was that? It was it's still going on. It's the and then next weekend I'm going to be on a panel for that. What's it called? It's called The Truth About Life. The Truth. Are we back on now? You're welcome, Sue. My absolute real pleasure. I'm not. By the way, I don't just say things. Are we back on now? Because they told me that we went off for a second. And I trust. I have no doubt that everybody behind the scenes that has involved with our technology cares about us, and they've got our best interests in mind. That's their intention. Their intention is for us to have a really safe, wonderful, and happy life. And that's what our governments want. I don't care what country you're in. Our governments all want us to be happy and healthy, and see that I won't get kicked off anything as long as I say stuff like that. Can I speak? I found you and just saw you were live. Yay! Can I speak about autism? All right. All right, so I'll do it. Just so you all know, if you are new, the format for this You go to the website drlodi.com, and there's a place and you can submit questions, and then I read them. And then the groups though are it's an interaction. When the question comes to your mind, then you ask me, and we can go back and forth. Classical music, that's it. Oh, I got to talk about these things. I got to remember. Okay, so classical music, autism. I'll tell you about the miracle, Julie. You guys have to remind me of this. Okay, I can't. I got to answer these questions, but here, let me just real quickly say autism. Autism did not exist when I was a kid. Neither did Alzheimer's. Neither did HIV. And I don't know how, there's so many of diseases out there that they weren't here. And the truth is, the reason is, everyone, is there are no diseases. There's no diseases. Like there are mountains over there, there's an ocean over there, there's cars, but there's no diseases anywhere, which is how we think. Your body is going to always adapt to, first of all, if you're living a life that is providing all of your biological requirements and psychological requirements, then your body will function optimally. It'll just, and that optimal functioning is called health. Now, if you're not if you're not satisfying all your biological requirements and or psychological requirements, your body will have to adapt. And those adaptations are called diseases. Anyway, but the point is this: nothing got into you. It's your body adapting. So what we call it autism, and now there's autism spectrum disorder, which means they weren't, if you didn't fit the definition, so we're going to broaden the definition. We'll call it a spectrum disorder, right? It's a rainbow. You know what? The color you're talking about, it's in the rainbow. Anyway, there's no such thing as autism. What happened to your child is your child has been poisoned. And I'm not sure what, but it's usually these injections that children get when they're born in the either the last century or this century, in an institution, or even if they're born at home, they have to quickly be taken to an institution where they start to be injected with all kinds of things to protect them. And so I'm not sure what happened in your case. So how would you deal with it? Well, first of all, there's some substances that are in those injections that are on the metallic side, and you can there's a the Greek word for claw or grab is like chile. How come the keeps going up? Your device unexpectedly stopped. My device unexpectedly stopped. Don't blame it on the device. Are we back on, you guys? Hello, can you tell me, are we back on? Hello? Somebody on Facebook or X, or are we back on? Hello? Are we back on? Okay, you're still on. Great. Okay, so it went off. Okay. So anyway, the thing about autism. So we're talking about autism, and the thing about the word auto, it comes from the word auto, self, right? So autism. So it's saying that you're kind of your perspective on your ability to relate to the world is very limited, and you're pretty much living within your own mind. Well, the truth is, if that's it, then we're all autistic, because everybody lives in their own world, right? And okay, I'm on YouTube as well. What, like, for example, what I'm experiencing, and let's say you're next to me and we're at the same event, we're having the same input, we're having two different perceptions. Okay, so my reality is that perception, your reality is that perception. We're not talking about the reality of reality. What is real? That doesn't matter to each individual, because the schizophrenic who's having an argument with someone that we can't see and is really angry and keeps hearing this voice keeps talking to them, that's real for them. They're angry, they're in anguish, they're going through, that's real. That's real for them. That's reality for them. It's not my reality. It's not your reality, but that's their reality, right? And then so anyway, so it's our perceptions, all right? So which the truth is, we are all actually, that's what we are. We're living within our individual in psychology. There's a term called perceptual set. In other words, your body, your mind is actually tuned to perceive certain to perceive the set. Okay, two things. There's sensation, which means any energy, whether it's sound, light, mechanical, heat, doesn't matter, whatever the chemical, that energy, when it impacts your body, we have sensory receptors: eyes for light, ears for sound, chemical receptors in our nose and our tongue for chemicals, and then heat, and then we have proprioception. We have a sense of balance. We have a sense of gravity. All these senses. So it's the environment impacting us. Those are called sensations. They get turned into an electrical impulse, which goes into our brain, and they go to different parts of our brain, and then it goes through billions and billions of Carl Sagan, billions and billions of synapses with the neurons, and in the end is we get a perception. So the perception is a consequence of the sensory input plus your history, your current physical condition, if you're well or not well, your motivation, and your experiences and your culture, and so all those things will take that sensory input and and you come up with a perception, and that's what we call reality. And the truth is, we never know what's really out there, because all I know is that I have light. Light is reflecting off of whatever's out there, hitting my retina, going around to the optic nerve, going into the occipital part of my brain, electrical. I mean, that's, you have to realize, we don't know what's out there. All we know is what's going on here. Okay. So autism. Anyway, your son, if it was a son, I think it was a son, has been poisoned, and you have to get rid of the poison and make sure there's no more poison for this beautiful child. No more poison. And how do you not poison them? You give them food that has not had any chemicals used in raising it, growing it. Okay. And you give it human food. And by the way, humans are what? We are pluckers, and we are planters, and we are artists, and we are lovers, we caress, and but we're not killers. You got to really work hard to kill someone or kill something. And I mean, how would I kill a cow with my hands? Could I kill a cow with my hands? And tell me something. Can you imagine? I'm gonna walk. I'm walking down a nice, beautiful road, and I see a cow eating grass. So I look at the cow eating grass, and I go, "Wow, that looks delicious, huh?" Yeah. And he would ever be helped. My gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, let me. Okay, I get so distracted reading these things. There's this autism. Other people are so autism is a very it's an important subject only because you have to realize there's no such thing, and now we're calling it all spectrum disorder, which means that it doesn't. Anyway, you got someone every time you're not feeling great and wonderful, or you're not functioning great and wonderful perfectly, it's because a law of biology has been violated. You're not getting what you need, or you're getting what you don't need, and that your body's trying to deal with it. That's the only thing that happens. Because if your body gets what it needs, and and it doesn't get what it doesn't need, it's going to function optimally. That's just the law of that's the gift. By the way, someone earlier was mentioned that they're looking for a miracle. We've got the miracle. The miracle is that we are alive. The miracle is that there are a minimum of 37 sextillion chemical reactions going on in your body, my body, everyone's body, every second. We're making anywhere from 37 trillion million to maybe 80 million new cells every second. So we are a dynamic process. We are not something that happened. We are something that is happening. So we're a happening. And this happening is changing. And what we are right now, we will not be next week. And what we were last week, we're not that now. In other words, we're dynamic. And if you understand that we're dynamic, and you understand that the body is adapting, then all you got to do is work on the environment in which your cells are living. If you can work in that environment so that it provides everything your body needs and nothing that it doesn't need, guess what's going to happen? It's called optimal functioning. You understand? Optimal functioning is health. Humans, we don't even know what optimal functioning is. I'll tell you. And the reason I say that is because the CIA and the KGB during the Cold War had a program that involved remote viewing, where they would take their agents and put them through training, and they would learn how to do remote viewing. And that is basically to quiet their bodies down, and then they would leave. They would leave and go travel, and it was part of the spy the whole Soviet American espionage programs. So, but here's a guy lying in San Francisco in wherever they were doing the program, and he would come back and say, hey, there's a Soviet sub at this latitude and this longitude off the coast of Maine, and they would find it there. And the KGB were doing the same thing. Okay, so remote viewing, they spent a lot of money. The program was probably still going. So here's the thing. Why didn't we all grow up learning that? Why didn't we grow up learning how to do that? Because wouldn't that be like really, really beyond convenient? It's very convenient if you press this button and you can turn the air conditioner on. That's convenient. I mean, so what's really convenient is being able to make use of, to understand the capabilities of this incredible gift. So the miracle is that we're living in a miracle. We have a miraculous, incredible Earth suit. And the immune system, the protective, you got to understand the immune system of different organisms. For example, the immune system of cabbage, cauliflower, bok choy, broccoli. Their immune system is a little different. They produce these chemicals and enzymes. And so when an insect is because that's one of their big enemies, and it takes a bite out of it, and it mixes that enzyme with that chemical, it turns into another. There's a chemical reaction, and it kills the insect. For us, though, if we eat that, it upregulates phase 2 detoxification of our liver. It helps our sex hormones metabolize in a healthy manner. It's all kinds of amazing things. Yeah. So yeah, so you know, so the point is this: if we are living according to the biological laws that define our particular biology species, then we're going to be optimally functioning. We were designed to be optimally functioning. All right. This immune system, if it's fully operational, you cannot have CFCs. Parasites don't have a chance. I mean, on and on and on and on. And if you do have CFCs and you were to get your immune system functioning optimally, within a week at most, it would all be gone. That's how fantastic. There's the miracle. So we've all been given this miracle. The problem is we're blocking it. We're blocking the miracle. And we're blocking it with fundamentally. I mean, yes, the way we live our lives is and antithetical to health. We live in a way that is not compatible with health, with optimal functioning. That's how we live. But more fundamental than that is our mind. Fear and doubt and anger, regret. Those are the big ones. But if they're all pivoting on fear. That blocks the miracle. It is the most powerful immunosuppressive, period. Nothing more powerful. Maybe 5G. Yeah. So we got some pretty cool immune suppressing things going on in our world. And by the way, I just want to remind you something. Listen, we've never had it so good. We're living longer than all the generations of humans before, and we've never had it so good. Huh? Really? Oh, but didn't you Didn't you say that like 80? I know it's underestimate, but didn't you say like 85% of all our illnesses are due to lifestyle, right? Right. Okay, so not 150 years ago, our lifestyles were not like this. So all those elements in that lifestyle, in our lifestyle, didn't exist, but we were living longer now. Now that we're anyway, whenever they tell you something that just doesn't make sense, for example, soy is bad for you, and then you look over and you say, wait a minute, these Japanese people here, they live 10 years longer than us, and they eat soy all day long. It's bad. Okay. And testosterone causes prostate CFCs. Well, then how come that guy at Gold's Gym who has an erection from morning to night doesn't have it? But this poor guy over here who can't get an erection anymore and his muscles are getting thin, atrophying, he gets it. So you're saying so whenever they say things that doesn't make sense, believe me, it's wrong. Don't believe what they say. Believe what you see. Believe your eyes. Okay. Now, I can see your questions. You're all listen. Would you guys listen to this for a minute? Okay. I know you're not going to listen. Try to listen to this. Read your questions. Read everybody else's questions. You're going to see that everybody's saying, "What about this? Can I do this? Will this get rid of the problem? Or what can I do? What can I get? What tool, what weapon can I get to get rid of this problem?" So that's what we're looking for. That is our perspective. And it's a military perspective. And it was carefully woven into our culture. And when I say our culture, it started with America and then it went to spread around the whole world. And it's called the disease model, the idea that there are diseases. All right. And if there are diseases, then you got to get rid of them because they're foreign. They're things that, yeah, I don't want it. I don't need this. Right? This concept has nothing to do with reality. Okay. Diabetes is not over there that I get. High blood pressure is not something over there and I get it. And I got to get rid of it. But if I go to the sorcerer, whether it's male or female, and they're wearing their long white cape, and they tell me that I have a disease, and here's my weapons to get rid of it. You understand? So that's the whole thing. That's where stop looking for that. What I'm telling you is this: first of all, your mind, by you asking that question, you're playing. You've succumbed to their story. Their story is that there are diseases and they're going to get you. And you got to get rid of them. That's their story. You bought it. And here's Melly. Okay, so Melly, we got to, we'll talk. Okay, so CFCs have landed in your liver, on your liver. Okay, so okay. Again, that's part of the way that's how they want us to think. All right. Let me just clarify that. CFCs, they're probably all over. When they started to develop, by the way, everyone that you've ever met and you ever will meet has got CFCs, either nanograms, very rare to have people that have nanograms. It's either micrograms or milligrams, or 1 gram or more, and then it becomes a tumor, and it's considered clinical Sagittarius or clinical Leo, or I don't know, what is it? Clinical Scorpio. Yeah. Virgo. Yeah. One of those astrological signs. Anyway, it becomes, I'm not going to use that word, and you guys stop using it. Don't use it. Sally, you just said it. Okay. How can I get rid of my... Sally, come on, you guys listen. Don't just ask questions. Don't just ask questions. Be open to learning. Okay? You don't have thyroid. Don't use their word. Can you tell me what can someone tell me what does the word cancer mean? I mean, if I asked you what does the word bookshelf mean, you could tell me, right? You could tell me what it means, right? What does the word food mean? So let me ask you, what does the word cancer mean? Other than people born between June 21st and July 22nd. What else does it mean? Nothing. What? I keep getting shut off. Oh, we're back on again, you guys. Are we back on? Say yes. Somebody say yes. Back on. Yes, that's an astrological sign. Okay, so what happened? Okay, now. Are we back on, everybody? Yes, I guess so. So we all have these going on. Why? Because it's a natural response that cells go through if anything compromises their ability to make energy. Cells have to make energy as their number one job. Thank you, everybody. The reason they have to make energy is because they need the energy. 55% of the energy that they derive from the environment is used just to sodium, potassium pumps, and other such mechanisms so that the cell is viable. It exists. So 55% of the energy that is produced by a cell is just to make sure is to give it is for it to exist. The rest of the energy that the cell is making is for cellular work. So if it's a liver cell, it's doing liver stuff, kidneys. Yeah. Okay. So if something messes with the ability of the cell to make energy, that becomes number one, because without it, there's no it. So it's got to make energy, right? And how much does it need? Well, kind of figured it out, somewhere between 53 and 50 and 61 or something kilojoules, which is a measurement of energy per mole. What the hell does that mean? It doesn't matter what it means. It's a unit of measure. So whatever it is, call it ounces or meters, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the average is 57. Every cell needs it's called minus 57 kilojoules per mole. And that doesn't matter if that cell is a heartbeat. You're running really fast and your heart's beating at 120, 130, or your elbow, which is just hanging out. They both need, all cells, and whether it's a CFC or it's a non-CFC cell, it needs average minus 57 kilojoules per mole, period, just to operate. So if once it's that ability to make that energy gets compromised, it has to do it another way. And we're designed that way so that we have it's called glycolysis, aka fermentation, is fundamental to all. And what it is basically just the fermentation of a monosaccharide, glucose. Or actually, there are other things you can. There's fructose, glucose, galactose, and then there's glutamine, which is an amino acid. You can also do that. All right. So anyway, now when you ferment it, you only get a little bit of energy. When you go through the mitochondria, you get a lot of energy. So our mitochondria, which are very vulnerable to living in the 21st century toxic world, that they get knocked down a lot. And when they do, to some point, our cell has to switch over to fermentation for a while. And then things get better and they go back. Well, when you have CFCs, you've knocked out too many of them. That's all it is. You've knocked out too many of the mitochondria, and it can't go back to relying on them. So it has to become a permanently fermenting cell. And that's what it is, a chronically fermenting cell. That's what it is. So we understand that. All right. But all of us have micrograms, milligrams, or 1 gram or more. All right. So if you think it's in your liver or your bone or anything else, it's already everywhere. It took at least 8 years from the time the cell started to become a fermenting cell for that to get large enough to be detected, either a lump in the breast or prostate or whatever, to be detectable. Small. It's at least 8 years to get that, to become that. All right. So during that time, the little microscopic satellites went down the lymphatics, went into the blood, and they're everywhere. So everybody who thinks they're stage 1, according to their ridiculous staging thing, is already microscopically stage 4. So that whole staging thing has no value to you. To them, it allows them to have the appropriate nomenclature to stick to put into the sales algorithm. And so they know exactly what products and services they can sell you. That's the value of staging, because staging is ridiculous. And I will do that another time, but I'm just telling you, it has no value for you, just for them. So don't think that it's gone there. It's traveling. It's already everywhere. All right. Now, if you've got a bunch of seeds all over, right? They're in the backyard, the front yard, the side yard. They're in that field over there. You got all these seeds, and you're worried that they're going to turn into these these are seeds that when they grow into trees, they're monsters. What am I going to do about that? Every time one comes up, I'm going to go clobber it. I could do that. Or I could do what? I could make sure that they don't get watered. They don't get proper nutrients and fertilizer. That's what I could do. That way, I don't have to worry about it. All right? Okay. Anyway, and that's really what we do. So you have these seeds around, and these seeds need good soil. So you make sure that you're not good soil for these seeds. And don't water them, and don't give them any fertilizer. I mean, metaphorically, you get it. Okay. Now, the CA protozoa eating your red blood cell and infiltrating tissues is a disease. Okay, so you're talking about the germ theory. The germ theory is saying that the germ theory, by the way, you know, Koch's postulates, you all know Koch's postulates, right? He lived around the same time as Louis Pasteur and Buchon. And he had these postulates. He said, okay, if you got to meet these criteria, then we can say, this agent, this infectious agent caused this condition. Well, we haven't been able to do that with anything except parasites. Parasites pretty much fall into that there. Right. So if a protozoa is in you, or how about a tapeworm, or how about a strongyloides, or any of these worms, they get in and they're your dinner. Yeah, it's not a disease, it's a worm, or it's a protozoa. What's a disease? What's a disease? It's a protozoa, right? You got a bunch of protozoa in there, and they're colonizing. All right. We don't use their word. If you want to use their word, I'm telling you, then their program is your death. That's their program. How do I know that? Because I grew up in the hospitals. I was an intern and a resident in New York City. All right. I was in the hospitals. A short week was 120 hours. Do you know how many hours there are in 1 week? Well, if you're an intern, you learn very quickly that there are 168 hours in a week. And if I'm spending a minimum of 120, I don't have a lot of time to do anything else. Because I got to get back and forth to the hospital. Got to sleep. I mean, there's not much left. The reason they call us interns and residents is because we reside there. So I know what we do in those hospitals. I know. It's nothing to do with health. Anyway, so the colonization of our body by different organisms is happening all the time. We've got hundreds of trillions of organisms. A lot of them are like on our side, and without them, we'd be dead, right? They're on our skin, in all of our cavities, in our gut. And if they're in the right proportion, they're like going to make us really healthy, because our relationship with them is extremely intimate, to say the least. Without them, we're dead. So I don't know if you want to call them or just expand the definition of us. Anyway, so if you've got an overgrowth of something, that means like protozoa, worms, and stuff like that. Why are they there? They found something to eat. You've got to restore your balance and everything, so and you get rid of them. But you've got to take medications. We grew up now, unfortunately, in a world where our immune systems have been systematically compromised. We are not the same people as we were, as our ancestors were in the year 1900. In the year 1900, we had much stronger immune systems. Okay. So now we don't. And so that's why a lot of times herbs don't work as well for us, and we need drugs. And this is one situation with parasites. It's not a disease, it's a worm. There's no such thing as a disease. What is a disease? So is diabetes and a protozoa, are we going to, they're both diseases? No. What does that mean? What does it mean? Doesn't mean anything. Don't use their word, please. If you use their word, because remember something, their word, they're gonna give you a pathological, histological diagnosis. Aha, you've got adenocarcinoma of the uh, colon or pancreas or whatever. That doesn't. That's their diagnosis, but all it is a description of the tissue. Adeno means it came from a gland. Carcinoma means originated from the ectoderm of the embryo. Yeah, that's all it means. It doesn't tell you how you got it and how to get rid of it, so it's really useless. You can call it anything you want. All right, now that's what they call a diagnosis. And then what they figure out is that then they want to stage it, and if once they stage it, now they know because of their data when you're going to die. And they're gonna and the doctor, of course, is gonna be very forthcoming and say, we this is not curable, but what? It's not. What do you mean it's not curable? Yeah, so we're just gonna poison you for a couple of years. Is that you got? Why are you gonna poison me? Well, because if we don't poison you, you're gonna die. What was gonna happen if you do poison me? Well, you're gonna die anyway. Anyway, so remember, 93% of human communication is non-verbal, which means when you're in the hospital, House of Horrors, or you're around these witches and warlocks, because they all have the same, they know, she has stage 3B. Not okay. So they're all telling you you're gonna die. You're gonna die. So you're in that environment. I'm telling you, that's poisoning you, and that is going to wipe out your immune system because you're. I mean, when you're told you're going to die, what else matters? Right? Nothing matters anymore. Whatever your plans were, forget it. Doesn't matter. You're going to die. So that's not you want to get off the death train, people. So if you want to use their words, great, but just realize their words they're on the death train and they're taking you to the morgue. Get off that train, jump onto the train, go into health, the paradise of health, where we're all looking to restore our health. We've all had our health compromised. And how do you obtain health? It's like a big secret, but by living healthy. There's not another way. You can't buy it, you can't negotiate it, you can't demand it, you can earn it. All right, now, I'm just saying, you got to use their word. Why do you keep saying device unexpectedly stopped? Yeah, I know. Listen. I don't trust the minds behind technology. All right. Jesus. Okay. I'm sorry I didn't even get to your questions. I'm going to get to your questions now. I just wanted to, I'm answering these questions here, but I want you to understand something. And somebody was there saying it's diet, alkaline. Yes, diet and alkalinity, all of those things are really important, but it's not to get rid of anything. It's to restore harmony and balance. That's what we're looking to do. And if we remember that we're not here to get rid of anything. We're here to restore balance, and balance means that there won't be any negative things there. I told this story before, and I'm going to tell it again, and I'll probably tell it even again. And that's this: I had a fellow at Oasis in Arizona with stage 4, according to their, meaning it was other organs. Colon CFCs was in his liver and everything. Stage 4. It took about 6 months. They were gone, and they were undetectable, clean scan. So he should have been really happy, right? But he wasn't. You know why he wasn't happy? Because he had heart failure. And his heart failure was so severe that he needed oxygen and a wheelchair just to go to the bathroom. Why does it keep stopping? It keeps going. Can I ask everyone, are you seeing, does it go off and on? Tell me. Somebody say, right. Yes, goes off and on. It's like it's like almost once a minute now. It's not stopping. That's weird. How come it keeps, this yellow thing comes on? Your device unexpectedly stopped. We're turning it back on now. Who's you? You think it's Mark? What's his name? Mark. What's his name? You know the guy, Mark. He used to look like a clone. Now he's got bushy blonde hairdo. So he's now a Californian, living in Malibu, right? Bushy, and you probably don't know those songs. So you don't remember those songs. Anyway, broadcast is smooth, amazing. Yeah, Fuckerberg. That's it, Mark Fuckerberg. That's it. Anyway, I don't trust this guy. Anyway. So you got to live healthy. Yeah, I get my Z's and my F's mixed up. You know what I mean? I'm never sure if that's a Z or an F, but that's pretty. With him, we'll stick with the F, right? Now, so yeah, we need to restore. We need to do all these things, but don't get lost in those details because you're not going to be. You don't want your whole body to be alkaline because you'll be dead. Yep, that's it. 2.0. Right? Because your stomach has to be extremely acidic. It's got to be 1.5 pH. Your colon, 6.8. That's acidic. Your the distal part of your ileum, again, 6.7, 6.8. Different. Your duodenum, we need to be very alkaline. So this all the cell, different cells in the body there's a different pH in there, and that's it's the purpose. The purpose is pH and temperature are the two physical characteristics of the phenomenal universe that, especially in biological entities, but in the biosphere, that determine function, chemical function. All right. So in a high pH, like for example, you've all heard of the probiotic acidophilus, right? And there's all kinds of species of acidophilus. The reason it's acidophilus is because it produces acid, and it keeps the pH a little bit low. Because if it didn't, you'd have an overgrowth of these guys. So the acidophilus chemically they keep things in balance wherever they're located, and without them, you're in trouble. But what does have to be alkaline? Our blood and the interstitial fluid. That's the part of the blood, the non-cellular part, meaning non-red blood cell, non-white cell, the serum part that diffuses through the capillary membrane into the area called the interstitium, where all the cells are hanging out, and it's a fluid. So it's like an aquarium, and the fish are the cells of our body. That's the aquarium they live in. All right. That has to be between pH 7.35 to 7.45. On either side, you're in trouble. There's all sorts of mechanisms to keep it right there. So yes, when we're talking about alkalinity, that's what has to be alkaline, but not everything else. And the body, don't worry, you have to figure it out. The body will figure it out. The body already figured it out. You just have, all you have to do, All you have to do is eat human food. And remember that we are diurnal. We're not nocturnal. Oh, he's a night owl. No, no. It's a human. Night owls are over there. He's human. Maybe that look like one, but really a human. And diurnal. Should go to sleep right after the sun goes down. Ah, I can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you can't do it. Then you won't get the benefit. I there's not a. I mean, okay, I won't do it. I can't do it. I have to do it. Okay, all right, you won't do it. You can't do it. So you won't get the benefit of it. That's all I can say. All right, so anyway, so there's certain things. If we live according to our biological requirements, we're going to be. That's all. That's all. All right. So you don't have to worry about alkaline acid. Just eat what we're supposed to eat. Yeah, but what are we supposed to eat? Because this guy says this. There's the question. Because we got so many freaks out there telling us that they got to eat whatever. I don't know, people. You have to eat right for your blood type, and you have to. Anyway, so we'll get into that at another time. I better answer some questions, otherwise people would say, "What the hell is?" Okay, so here's the question. This is from Kelsey. I am only 33 and a mother of 4. Wow. I was diagnosed with anemia at age 10, hypothyroid at 12, and IBS at 17. I have had diarrhea since I was pregnant with my second son about 7 years ago. It's gotten to the point that I go to the bathroom more than 20 times a day. So last summer, I elected to get a colonoscopy, and I found that I have celiac, but my colon is fine. I didn't find any parasites, but I'm sure that I have them. My doctors don't agree, and their suggestions are not enough. I'd like to have a consultation with you, and so I can set up a treatment plan and finally heal myself. All right, Kelsey. Wow. Okay. And unfortunately, your story there is like not unusual. Now, if you were diagnosed with anemia at age 10, because when we think of anemia, we know that what's happening is their blood count is low. What do I know about colloidal silver blue? Okay, well, remind me again. Where was I? Okay, anemia means you don't have enough blood. Your blood is the amount of blood is low. We look at either what they call hemoglobin or hematocrit, carries oxygen. So usually, if you don't have enough, if your blood count is low, your red blood cell count is low, you're either losing it too quickly or not making it enough. Oops, your device unexpectedly stopped. You guys didn't see that, right? Say no. Yes, no. It didn't just stop. No, yes. No, yes. No, no, no. Yes, no. Yes. Great. Okay, thank you. Then for me, it stops. I know they're just trying to keep me. Yeah, it is. It's Fuckerberg. He wants to keep me like on edge. Will the real Mark? What was that song by Eminem? Was it the real Mark? But please stand up. Right? Are you a clone or are you a cool dude from California? Anyway. Now, if you had it at age 10, that means we know that because a lot of women, they might have heavy menses, and that would be one way of losing it. So 10, you weren't having your menses yet. So we know you weren't losing it. But if you had it at 10 and Now, if you had it as childhood, the only condition that I know of that is really uh, it means that you've been anemic for um, is basically it's one of the few inherited things we can get, and it's called thalassemia, and it'd be thalassemia minor, right? Which means you don't have the enzymes to make the protein, the uh, the hemoglobin uh, are compromised, and you don't make enough hemoglobin, and so you have a low hemoglobin, which carries oxygen. And one of the problems is when a doctor finds out, when a sorcerer finds out that you have anemia, most of the time they don't try to figure out what kind yet. With a real mark, please stand up, please stand. So I was going to do a great video between Eminem and the Beach Boys, and about the real mark, but anyway, I never had a chance to do it. They usually give iron. And if you give iron to someone with thalassemia, they're going to get iron overload. So you don't just give iron. All right. Now, so if you had it at 10, I'm wondering if you have thalassemia. And if you have thalassemia, then maybe your normal hemoglobin is 2 or 3 points lower than what is considered healthy. But your body has adjusted to it over your life. So I don't know. We'd have to figure that out. But so you had anemia age 10. Because I know you weren't bleeding, and you probably weren't exposed to any heavy chemicals that prevented your bone marrow from making it. So I'm not sure what happened there. Then at 10, hypothyroid. Well, that's you diagnosed. That means that means in order to get diagnosed with hypothyroid, that means you have to diagnose as having a spell put on you. It's called medical spell casting. Um, uh, that means your thyroid was really in trouble. So in order for it to show up on tests, we all have pretty much what you call. It froze briefly for a second. Okay, we all have what's called subclinical hypothyroidism. Subclinical means we don't have clinical. Clinical hypothyroidism is you're really in trouble. I mean, you're lethargic. You can't think much. You sleep a lot. You can't lose weight no matter what. You're gaining weight. So clinical hypo. Everything's kind of slow and sluggish. That's clinical hypothyroidism because you can experience it and see it. Subclinical is you think you're fine, except that your thyroid's not. So if they found it in your blood, and then they probably started you on something like Synthroid, which is T4, synthetic T4, and then anemia 10, 12, you got the hypothyroid, and then at 17, you had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Isn't that ridiculous? They talk about it as if it's I got this thing, yeah. What's it called? Irritable bowel syndrome. Now, what if I'm kind of person that I'm irritable all the time? What? You want what? If I'm kind of like that, do I have a disease called irritable personality syndrome? You realize how insane it is. You can't, that's not a disease. All right. But what does it mean? It means you don't have the right microorganisms inside of your body, in your gut. And now they're calling it celiac, meaning that you have a problem with, wheat and things like that. Nah, you have a dysbiosis. So does the person with Crohn's. So does the person with ulcerative colitis. So does the person with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It's all the same. So does the person who doesn't even think they have a problem. Yeah, I agree, Emma. Yeah. So we have a dysbiosis. So really, what you need to do, Kelsey, is restore your or maybe you never had it, a healthy gut biome. And the way you do that is we talk about this every week. You do a thorough juice cleanse, fresh vegetable juice cleanse, and you do it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or so long without eating solid food, and you'll have plenty of energy. You'll feel great. You're just going to be wanting to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. Smell, taste, chew, and swallow. Smell, taste, chew. Gotta do the smell, taste, chew. That's what we live. Because nutrient-wise, you'll be getting all the nutrients except for fat and fiber, but because you need to clean everything out, get rid of everything, and let it start to heal. And you can just you can take some things like glutamine, glutalamine, which you can get from I think Cellcore. It's a combination of glutamine and aloe, glutalamine. You can get some Akkermansia, which is this probiotic that repairs leaky gut. And then when you start eating again, then you'll eat only food that is alive. So you probably won't be eating cows or pigs, because the live cows and live pigs, first of all, it'd be pretty difficult. Can you imagine trying to eat a cow while it's alive? And or a pig, even a frog. Who'd want to eat a frog if it was alive? Right. So, so if you, why are you by saying eating live food? Because if you're eating a live food, um, and it happens to be plants, right? You know, the things that don't walk or fly or crawl, they're called plants. The stuff that flies, crawls, walks, slithers, those are animate. They're animated. And then there are plants that are not animated. They're just there. And we eat them live. Guess what? The bacteria, microorganisms that like that are the ones we need. It just turns out, I mean, it's coincidence, yeah, I will make that video. I'm also going to make the juice diet for the carnivore. I'm a carnivore. I don't eat any animals alive. You're a corpsivore. I'm a corpsivore. I eat corpses. Okay, great. Okay, yeah. If you've done your cleanse, and now you're going to eat nothing but uncooked plant food. Now, the microorganisms that like that are the ones you need, and you're going to be restored to balance. Everything's going to get better. Everything. There's not one thing that won't get better if you can restore your biome. And diarrhea. Now, what does diarrhea mean? The definition of diarrhea really is a very vague. For example, the person who has a bowel movement every 3 days, if they start having 2 bowel movements a day, that's for them diarrhea. But most people consider diarrhea when it's watery or loose. Twice a day compared to every 3 days is loose for them. Anyway. So usually it's water, not formed. It just did we just have a blackout? What do you mean, oops? Oops. Oops, what? Yeah. How do I feel about multivitamins? Make fresh juice. You've got more you've got biologically available vitamins, phytonutrients, minerals. Yeah. What's this? No. How do you feel about daily vitamins? Yeah, and what I'm saying is that when you get, like, imagine one liter, 1 quart of fresh vegetable juice is like a handful of vegetables. You couldn't have eaten that much of it. So if you're eating you're drinking let's say 2 quarts a day, or right, or You're not fasting. You're not doing a juice feast. So you're just having 1 quart a day. You're getting more nutrients than the average person gets in 6 months in that one day. And if you're doing a juice cleanse, you're getting 2 to 3 quarts a day. It's like super, super nutritious. So you're getting more because the multi-mineral vitamins are just based on their standards, right? And their standards are the recommended daily allowance. You only need 50 milligrams of ascorbate, which is vitamin C. 50 milligrams. You need 50 milligrams so that you don't have end stage scurvy. That's what that is, but it's not enough for optimal functioning. They don't talk about optimal functioning. They want to know how much you take before you suffer from a deficiency syndrome. That's all. Yeah. There's nothing they say is true. Nothing. Now, so we got to straighten out your biosis. I would like to know what's going on with if you have thalassemia or not. They didn't find parasites. Well, they're not going to find them. Listen, everyone, keep in mind that they're not. Everyone has parasites, by the way. Just everyone. They're not going to find them. This is why they're called parasites, because they have learned to successfully avoid being detected and killed. Right? If they weren't good at it, and you could find them easily and kill them, then they wouldn't be parasites. All right. Now, but I think you're probably thinking that you have parasites, therefore you have the diarrhea and stuff like that. No, it's all happening at the same time. You've had a problem since you were young, and it's because you were born into what? If you're unfortunate enough, like me, to be American, you grew up in this greatest country in the world. What world is that? Anyway, where we grew up on Wonder Bread. What was it? Wonder Bread? I forget the commercial. It builds body. It helps bodies in 12 ways, or I forget the madness. But anyway, so we grew up in a world where we're you know. So we start with you start with the middle, the center. Clean that out. Clean it out. Restore its health. Get that balanced, and everything else. And then if you're eating human food, you'll actually start to be a functioning human. It's crazy. It can't be that. Yeah, bologna and white bread. Yeah, there you go. I remember as a kid. I remember the bologna and the bread. I loved it, and I put mustard on it. And I remember taking the white bread, and I would bunch it up into a real hard. And I thought, how cool is that? For some reason, I thought that was cool. Why are they? Why are they seeing? Why are they seeing? Because they do see in the. You can see them on autopsy. You can find them like that. But just understand something. They're microscopic. When we're talking, okay, first of all, protozoa are microscopic. You can't see them. The worms, the only thing you're going to see is an adult worm, right? And the tapeworm can be big, but all the other worms are not more than a couple inches at most. But unless you have adults, and you can see pinworms, these little white guys, unless you have adult forms in your bowels, you won't know. So if you've got, for example, strongyloides in your lung, you're not going to know that. You might be wheezing and all that, but you won't know that you got a parasite. And what are they going to do? A test to find out? No, there's no way. And a protozoa. Do you know you have protozoa in your mouth right now? You do. Probably in your jaws and all that. Protozoa. Entamoeba. Trichomonas, right? Probably got trichomonas in your in your if you get vaginal trichomonas, um, that is one you can tell, and you don't really need to go to a doctor to figure that one out, because if you have trichomonas, it will smell like fish, and you'll know you have it. Here's the thing about trichomonas, and that's the protozoa. Here's the thing about it: the men, you got it from a guy. So it's really when they do studies, there's two subpopulations of women who don't get any of this stuff. They don't get cervical CFCs. They don't get that's Catholic nuns or any other religious sect where the women are truly celibate. They really do it, and pure lesbians who've never had a male. They don't have all this problem. So the problem is men. Hey, what can I say? Um, I'm just glad I'm a man. I don't have to deal with men. So I really, my heart goes out to all the women out there who like men, because, wow. Anyway, and if you're a guy, don't get mad at me, because you know. Anyway, so, but anyway, the problem with this is yay. Yes, I agree, Jen. That's fantastic. Not that Jen. Whatever. I'll just call you Jen. The trichomonas that the man doesn't know they have, that they gave to the woman, if the man doesn't treat it, it can develop into prostate CFCs. If the woman doesn't treat it, it can turn into cervical CFCs. Right? So you got to get rid of these guys. Now, so we all have protozoa, we all have that. So most of them are microscopic, is the point I was trying to make. And so unless they get to the even the larva, so they go from worms to larva, you're not going to see them. And you could be, if you're taking anti-parasitic medication, they could be coming out and you won't know it. Do I prescribe medications? Yes, I can. I do. But the problem is in the US, unlike other countries, like in another country, when you finish your training, you get licensed by the country, and anywhere in that country you can practice, right? So if it's Italy, and now in Europe, now you have it's the EU. So you if you're licensed in the EU, you can practice in France, Italy, Germany, it doesn't matter. But like Japan, you get it for life, and you can be in Kyushu, Hokkaido, it doesn't matter where you are, you're gonna be able to practice. Same with Korea, right? In the US, you get licensed state by state. So I'm licensed in New York and Arizona, but not in Florida and not in Nebraska. So I can't. So that and then in America too, they said if I wrote a prescription for somebody that I did not examine with my hands and my ears, I'll lose my license. Can you? I mean, even high blood pressure medicine or anything. And then the great hoax of 2020 came, and we all know the great hoax of 2020. And then there was the lockdowns brought to you by the World Economic Forum, and they allowed telemedicine. It became okay now. And in order to do it, you had to do a virtual physical exam, which is bizarre. So I was doing those, right? So, we do a Zoom call, and then I have you touch yourself and take your blood pressure and all that, and that's considered a virtual physical exam. It's kind of weird. I always felt like just odd telling someone, okay, now touch yourself here. What's it feel like? Do you feel that it's just ridiculous? Because regardless of how good it is, I won't know what the heart sounds like or the lungs sound like, and I can't, and that's so anyway, I can't do that. So now for a while I could do virtuals, and now I can't. I think it depends. So it's really so, but regarding all these medications, they're only you only need prescription for them in the greatest country in the world, and there are other ones like Europe and stuff like that. You need to have prescriptions, but in some of those really third world, yeah, they can walk into the store and just buy them. But we're free. We're free. They're not. Anyway, so what I've done is I'm working on something so you won't have to get. There's going to be a website I'm working out where you can just get all those that you need and they'll be mailed to you. All right, so that's coming up quickly. But in the meantime, you guys should join our group, the group, because we have all these resources of places to get. I don't have them all. I can think of them right there. But where to get ivermectin, where to get fenbendazole, where to get niclosamide. So remember the big three: ivermectin, fenbendazole, and niclosamide. All right, and then for the protozoa, you want nitazoxanide, also called Alinea, but it's nitazoxanide. And then the antifungal, you can use diflucan. Now, Flagyl, the person I saw for trichomonas, Flagyl is Flagyl works, metronidazole, but so does tinidazole or nitazoxanide. Anyway, cause gives a lot of personal information to the monster overlords. You guys are, I don't know who you, jab, don't use their word, jab. Okay, everybody, remember linguistic manipulation. First of all, there was no pan. There was a hoax, but there was a scam, damn it. So don't use the word. And then you don't use that V word either because there was no V's. There were what? Bioweapons. And as soon as it became mandated, suddenly BBC, CNN, Fox, whatever, started to say jab, jab, jab. Did you get jab? I got jab, jab. Why did the word jab come out? The word jab came out because if you're like joking with your friend, you jab them, right? Or you walk outside and a branch jabs you. So the word jab in English implies a benign event, either jocularly or a mild abrasion. So they use this word to psychologically lower it. You get jab, yeah. Hey, jab, jab, jab. Don't use the word. It's not a jab. It's, I can't really be honest because we're going to go to X, so I can. But anyway, it's not a jab. That's a jab. All right. So don't use their words. You can't use their words. If you use their words, you're in their video game. You don't want to play their video game. Okay, good. You guys are going to help each other where to get these things for now. All right, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so anyway, so Kelsey, I hope you get it. So what I'm saying is, instead of a consultation with me, join the groups. Join the health and healing group. That's the we interact. We can interact just like the same as if you get a consultation. But when I was doing the consultations, I could only do 6 a day, right? Because I don't stop talking. Obviously, so they're usually 2 or 3. They were really long, and then I send you recommendations, and we wind up. It just takes. That's all I do. I can't do anything else. And that's the whole world. That's just a small amount of people. So in these groups, we can do that. I can interact, and you can get this person's question was applicable to your situation. So it's really much better. Join the groups, and we can do that. Okay. Now this is from Pete, I'm having mercury filling removed 2 at a time. Should I wait to start parasite cleanse until my mercury filling removal is completed? Taking chlorella, spirulina, NAC, garlic, milk thistle during mercury filling removal. Should I add anything else such as cilantro? All right. Okay. So Pete, good. You're getting removed, and I hope you've gone. You have a biological dentist, and the dentist was certified by IAOMT, and that the dentist was trained with SMART, which is safe mercury amalgam removal treatment or something. Anyway, it's a specific way of doing it. Because if they're removed the wrong way, if they're nitazoxanide and not nitrox, nitazoxanide, NITOX, Z, and NITOZOXANIDE. Stupid word. Anyway, nitazoxanide, but it also goes by the brand name Alinea, ALINIA, so it's easier to find. Anyway, so the mercury, if the mercury is removed the wrong way, in other words, if they just go in and start drilling and take it out, that mercury will aerosolize, vaporize, and you'll inhale it, and you'll be swallowing it. You'll get large doses of mercury. People that have had the mercury taken out the wrong way it's changed their lives. Because remember, what they call autism is usually due to too much mercury from the V's. The V's. The V's. Okay, so I'm glad you're getting them out. I hope you got a biological dentist 2 at a time. You can usually do like quadrants. Like if you had a bunch up here, they could do the whole quadrant. But being done the right way, they have a really heavy suction. They have a mouth guard, prevents you from swallowing it. Heavy suction. They usually have these. I forget what you call it again, but it's in the air in it. So for any mercury that vaporizes it, what's it called? Anyway, and then the dentist is wearing. It looks like a moon suit because they can't inhale it either. All right, so there you go. Nitazoxanide. Yeah, good, great, Wendy. All day chemist. Okay, great. So I hope you're doing that right. Is there anything else you should? No, you don't have to wait to take the parasites. Anti-parasitic. You don't have to wait till they're all up. You can take them. The only thing you would hold off on when you're having your mercury removed is any chelating agent. So if you still have mercury in your mouth, it's advisable not to use chelating agents until it's out, because you might just remove it from your mouth and deposit it in your brain. That's the idea. Yeah. So I'm glad you're getting them out, and I hope your biological dentist already did a 3D cone beam, and they now CT, so they know if you have cavitations, they know if you have any other problems. But what you're taking is fine. I mean, I hope you're taking vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A, melatonin, and your iodine's good, and all that. Okay. But in addition, you're taking spirulina and milk thistle, NAC, garlic. That's great for your liver. Yeah, you're doing good. I don't know if you got the right amounts. Most people don't know, because doctors don't know what is the right amount to take. Now, garlic, are you eating whole garlic? Are you getting the capsules? Anyway, whatever you're taking, do the research. Go online. Go to PubMed. Like, for example, milk thistle. Go to PubMed and say, dosing for milk thistle, and then for whatever reason. So, like if you have liver protection, if it was for yeah, that's about all. And then just see, and then you'll see it'll bring you to articles, and you can see. I mean, if you don't have anyone you can ask that you can trust, right? So no EDTA before all amalgams are removed, correct? Or DMSA, or DM, or DMPS, and the idea is that it'll grab it, and you know the way chelating agents work, like EDTA or DMSA, is, for example, EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, EDTA. It's a man-made, a woman-made, a person-made uh, amino acid that's non-metabolizable. Doesn't get metabolized, so it just goes in and out. Your body doesn't use it. So anyway, tetraacetic acid. That's tetra is 4. Acetic acid, it comes in the form of acetate. Okay, so acetate has a negative charge. So here's this molecule with 4 negative charges, like that. And you got a metal, mercury, or lead, or whatever. They have a positive charge. So those 4 negatives in that positive, it grabs it. And that's why they call it chelation, grab, claw, grab. So now the chelating agents have different affinities for different metals. So for example, the DMSA and the DMPS, which are very similar. The DMPS is IV, and DMSA you can take orally. Their favorite is mercury, and then lead, and it goes down. The EDTA, its favorite is lead, and so that's all. That's all that means. Which means what? Which means if the EDTA is carrying a piece of mercury and kicking it out, and it sees lead, it just drops that mercury and grabs the lead. It's got a higher affinity for lead. So that's not DMSO, DMSA. Dimercaptosuccinic acid. That's the thing. So it will drop one. So you don't want to do it until it's out. That's the whole idea. That my dentist says, what? It's only a very small amount if mercury, so not harmful. Not harmful. Okay. Zoe, this is amazing. You're a dentist. Now, listen. I want you to understand something. When the mercury is brought to the dental offices, it's brought in hazardous containers, right? Biohazard container. It's brought to them in biohazard containers. Now, the scraps, when the leftover mercury is picked up in biohazardous containers. So the only safe place is your mouth. Dentists are still doing that. They're still doing that. They're still saying it's okay. Do you know that there are warnings on tuna fish cans for pregnant women because of the mercury in tuna fish? But it's okay in your mouth. Mercury has no physiological function. It's not like zinc or magnesium. So your dentist needs to be in your history column. You got to this was my dentist. This is not my dentist. It was my dentist. Go to I'm gonna find it. See, if you guys were in the group and this was just Zoom, I could share a screen with you. But let me just find this here. It's IAOMT. Okay, so go to IAOMT, and it says the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. Okay, and they will give you a list of dentists that have gone for that training. And like, for example, your dentist probably uses fluoride when their hygienists do when they're cleaning your teeth, which is insane. Here, look here. This is on the IAOMT, International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. All right, they'll tell, and they'll have all that stuff there about, for example, fluoride and smart mercury facts. It's a great, and make sure your dentist is certified, not just a member. Okay, but yeah, read that, read that, and you'll understand. They've got a lot of good research, and their members, they have their members and professionals. What's a professional? What does it mean to say someone's a professional? If you get paid, what, unable? Are we back on now? Connected? What? Wait a minute. Are we okay? Never off. Everything's okay. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay, good. All right. So, all right, good. I'm glad you're getting the mercury out. That's fantastic. But you got to do it there. I hope you don't have any titanium implants, or you don't have any what do you call it? What they call it, gold. They don't, remember, they don't put any metals in your mouth. They put alloys. So gold is like when they say you get a gold crown or gold filling or inlay or outlay. It's 40% gold, and then there's other things like aluminum. So they're alloys, and when you have more than one metal in a saline solution, which is your saliva, you have what's called a battery. Sing us a Neil Diamond song. I can't sing anything. What song? I don't. If I sing, you won't recognize the song. So, all right. So I don't know, Neil Diamond. Okay. Bird mite infection. You said the question in here. Let me see. So I found the. All right. So Pete, you're doing great. Hope you can escalate my question for today or tomorrow. Thomas, huh? Your name is Thomas. My name, Thomas. How to lower or get rid of E. coli, E. faecalis, Klebsiella pneumonia in urine, prostate, and gut. I have dealt with these for over a year and tried multiple antibiotics. All right, so very good. E. faecalis, E. coli, and Klebsiella. Okay. First of all, E. coli is a part of your normal flora. Now, there are different strains of E. coli that have been developed because of our amazing agricultural and farming practices and things like that, and use of antibiotics and all that. But now, you're finding these in the urine, prostate, and what else? And gut. Okay. Now, it's not. Oh, Sweet Caroline. Yeah. Oh, I wish I could sing that. That's a great song. Caroline. Oh, thank you about the colloidal blue. Yeah. In fact, this is a good time to do it. Hang on there. Okay. Now, okay. First of all, the Klebsiella, the E. coli, and the E. faecalis are. It's not like they got into you and you got to get rid of them. They are actually normal inhabitants of our bodies, but in much less of a proportion. There are other ones. So in a healthy, when you have a healthy biome, that means you have all of the organisms in a healthy relative proportion. More of these, less, and they are there. The relative proportions that you have are there because of what they're eating, right? So, for example, if you ate nothing but fast food, you would have a whole different, you'd have more of this one and less of this one. You'd have a whole different biosis. It'd be a dysbiosis. And then if you ate nothing but home-cooked food, no fast food, you'd have a different dysbiosis. And then if you ate vegetarian or vegan, it changes it. And then finally, when you eat an uncooked plant one, the animals or the organisms that thrive are the ones we need. Okay. Now, okay. So now the blue, I don't know what you're saying, blue colloidal silver. Colloidal silver, everyone, is amazing stuff, but the only place that I ever get it from is Natural Immunogenics. They make something called Argentin 23 and Sovereign Silver. Because it is so, it's okay. Colloidal silver means that the silver, which is a metal, it's got a positive charge, has been sequestered in a little small package or envelope. It's like almost like a liposomal. And these are called colloids. So people have actually colloidal silver machines that they make it back at their home, in the garage or wherever. The problem is it's not stable, and then those colloids break apart, and you wind up getting large areas of coalescent silver. And if you start taking that, you wind up getting something called argoria. And argoria is where your face turns blue, your head turns blue. And the big problem with it is that it's permanent. So you don't want to get colloidal silver that is not in a stable form. So the Argentin 23 is 23 parts per million, which is, nobody can do that. And it's stable. In fact, it's so good you can give it IV. We give it IV. Now, what the nice thing about silver is that silver is antimicrobial, but only the bad guys. Not bad guys, the guys we don't, the ones that aren't on our side. All right? That is amazing. So, if you so for example, let's say you have H. pylori in your gut. Instead of taking all these antibiotics, you take a couple tablespoons of the Argentin 23, 5 times a day. You don't want methylene blue, or I don't know. I can't. You know what I mean? I'm getting too. I got to stay on these questions. Okay. So what I'm telling you, Thomas, is this: you've been on multiple antibiotics, which is why you still have it, because the antibiotics are killing the good guys, or they're eliminating. Do you realize that if I were, I can't use that word, because that word, right, is considered what do you call it? I can't use the word KILL, or I can't, or right? Otherwise they kick me off. Anyway, what you want to do is restore a healthy biome, Thomas. And when you take antibiotics, you further disturb the biome, the relative proportions. So instead, you do a good thorough cleanse, like I was talking about earlier. You do 2, 3, 4 week, as long as you can go, juice cleanse, get colon hydrotherapy, go to sleep early, move around all day. After 3, 4, 5 weeks of the juice cleanse, then go eat just healthy, organic, uncooked plants for a while. Don't do forever, and you will have a healthy. Everything will be back to normal. Why? Because you've got at least a small colony of every microorganism in your body somewhere. The reason there's only a few of them and a lot of them is because of what you're eating. You change your diet and they'll change. So yeah, you can take probiotics, but what's interesting, when you look at the research with probiotics, there's actually more. It's more effective to take prebiotics. And prebiotics, I love these terms. Prebiotic is the food for the biotic, for the microorganism. It's their food. So if they're saying if taking their food is more effective than taking them, it means that as long as you're eating right, they're already there. That's what that means. But a prebiotic is food. So in other words, why a prebiotic? That's like pre-boarding, right? Here you are sitting in the airport and at the gate. Now you're not boarding yet, right? You're not boarding. You're sitting in the waiting room. So you're pre-boarding, right? No. You're not pre-boarding until they announce it. I thought we're all pre-boarding. No. Anyway, they're terms. So a prebiotic means that the microorganisms will eat this stuff, and then it turns into a biotic. So it's a prebiotic. So my food, my apple, is a prebiotic. It's a pre-human. It's so stupid. Anyway, and what they use in the prebiotics are stuff like inulin and basically it's what we would call like an undigestible or an insoluble fiber, one that you can't digest, or even one that you can. Soluble fibers as well. But anyway, that's their food. So do that. Restore your biome, and then don't take any more antibiotics. All right? Now, so understand that. I hope you got that, Thomas. And in your prostate, so and your urine and your colon, yeah, well, they're all connected. They're all connected. The prostate, you want to, remember if you want your prostate to get to return to its a healthier size, a healthier volume. One thing you've got to do is make sure that it's being drained properly, and the way prostates drain is through ejaculation. So most people are, the studies show that it's 21 times a month, keeps your prostate in a healthy volume. All right, now, um, so that's, keep that in mind too. Drainage. All right, let's see. Now, this is Debbie. My family and I have bird mites infestation. We've moved out of our home and we're living in our RV. We are trying to get the bird mites off of our hair and our bodies. We have tried ozone, neem oil, bird mite spray. There are thousands of people experiencing the same problem that we are having right now. They cannot get rid of them. They have them 2, 3, 4, 5 years. In some ways, it is a hidden epidemic as it is worldwide pandemic. The government turns a blind eye. Do you have any suggestions of what we can do to get rid of them? Well, yes. I mean, now, one of the best medications for ectoparasites, which are parasites that live on outside of us, including scabies, right? Which is horrible because they get like they get like just under your skin. You can't see them, and they cause extreme severe itching. Is ivermectin. So, um, so that ivermectin. But the other thing is you have to remember the mites now. Mites. There are mites and ticks, and mosquitoes, fleas, right? So they live actually outside of the body on the what do you call it? On the skin, and they so they're eating. What they live on is our sebum, our the oils that we're secreting, and they're eating the dead skin and things like that, right? Um, so you've got to get rid of the source. Now, I wonder why you don't have. Clearly, you would have mentioned that you don't have birds in your house, right? I'm imagining, right? If you don't have birds, how do you know they're bird mites? Did you can you see them, and do you have them examined with with someone that knows what they're doing with a microscope? Huh? Um, I don't know. Is that what happened? So you moved out of your home, but now you're in your RV and you still have them, and your whole family has them. So that means they're there as well. So what you might want to do is like you can get a strong ozone machine. I mean, one that's strong, where you put it in your RV and you lock the doors and you leave. You can't be there, and you got to leave. And you leave it on for like a day or 2 or 3, and it'll kill them all. But it's really strong. If you breathe it, you die. You can't have So you have to be able to get that. That would do it. And meanwhile, you go somewhere else. But you've got to change it's just like having scabies. You've got to change your clothes every day. And you should use, instead of using those poisons that they put on the skin, ivermectin will do it. And you can get topical ivermectin too. You can get it in a like a paste form, right? And orally. And, so I imagine your biggest problem is you're itching, but I don't know. Do you have, I mean, I wish. Can you? How do you know you have them? Who told you that that's what it is? Right. So are you using? People use insect repellent, which is I don't know. I want to know how you know that you have them. Let me find this again. Yes, itching. You saw under a microscope. You saw them. Ah, and and you, and you said you know that's a bird mite, right? I mean, so your sister did. So your sister, like, is she like a biologist? How did she knows for sure that was a bird mite? All right, all right. So no birds, no nests, nothing around, huh? All right. And now are they all over the body or in certain areas? Anyway, the point is this: ivermectin orally. Her friend infected her. All right. All right. So you've got to in your whole family. So okay. So you understand you've got to completely ozonate that your RV. And the friend got it from a nest. And okay, but here's the thing: you got to okay. You do that, and ivermectin, and you can use ivermectin topically as well. Um, but this would be a perfect thing for an ozone sauna. If you had an ozone sauna, and you could do that, where it comes up to here and you're in there. That would be fantastic. Um, Otherwise, you can't. But if it's in certain parts of your body, can you just because hydrogen peroxide, 3%, 6% hydrogen peroxide anywhere, they that's where is it? What part of your body? Hair, head. Anyway, you got to treat it locally, and the best one I know of is ivermectin because we use it for scabies, right? So, um, and I don't know what they use insecticides like permethrin. Yeah, these are terrible, terrible stuff. Um, hmm. So one thing that is, and this is good for many conditions. So keep this in mind. If you can get, um, when I was in the U.S. in Arizona, I would order 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide. Now 35%, when I used to put it in my pool, right, like a 5 gallon, 5 gallons once a week. It didn't need any chlorine or anything like that. The pool was beautiful. So I'd carry in the buckets, and little drops would go onto my leg, right? And it was like getting stung by a bee. Very, very. So 35% you can't deal with. However, you can dilute it. So if I had 35% and I took out, let's say, for example, 10 cc's of the hydrogen peroxide and 10 cc's of distilled water, and I mix them. Now I've cut it in half. I have 17.5. If I do that again, I'll 8.75%. So you can keep this, you uh, and so. But anyway, 1 cup of 35% in a big full bathtub, and you just get in there and do that daily for a while. It'll, first of all, it'll take off. You'll find you in brush, do some skin brushing. You'll get rid of all the all of the dead skin that we're not aware of will come off and be exfoliated. There'll be a lot in your bathtub. It's a good. We should all do it. Once a week anyway. It's good to do that. Cleans off your. It just gets rid of old nasty stuff that needs to come off anyway. But those guys can't handle it. Now, if they're in certain areas, then you can get the food grade hydrogen peroxide 6% and put that on different areas. I have 6%, and I use what I do is I take a mouthful and in the morning, because you don't want to swallow in the morning because you've been growing all sorts of things all night, so you just spit it out and you get rid of those guys. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what you where they are or anything like that, but do what I'm talking about and it will help. But you get an ozone. Now I don't know what kind of ozone machines they use for like air fresheners, but the standard ones that you get are not strong enough. When we were making Oasis, building it, we had paint that was not toxic. Anyway, we still ozonated the place. So at night, I mean, we hadn't moved in yet, but we put on this ozone and close everything up, and then you had to open it up, and you can't go in there for a while until it's dissipated. But that ozone will it's really good. And what I love about ozone too is that it will neutralize all kinds of chemicals in the air. So everyone's house, like once a week, you should do it. You put on in the morning and come back at night. And let it just. So, but anyway, you got to get a strong one. Do that in your RV. No naughty jokes, please. Did I say a naughty joke? Huh. That's pretty amazing. I didn't even know it. I'm going to say this one more time. Okay, one more time. Because you're telling about bird mites. I woke up a week ago. My left breast felt bruised now this week. It is so sore to the touch. I did a breast exam. There's no nodule, knots, or anything. Nothing oozing out anywhere. There is a small discoloration on the left side of my breast and some inflammation. Do not want to get a mammogram. Would like to go straight to ultrasound or something. Scared to death. Thoughts, opinions, options. Huh. All right. All right. So, since we're talking about bird mites, I don't see the connection there, but I'm going to go with this. Your left breast felt bruised, sore to the touch, discoloration. So, I mean, if there's no mass, there's no lump, there's no discharge, nothing like that, it's sore to the touch and it's discolored, that sounds like physical trauma. That sounds like a bruise or something. You may not be aware that but I mean, first of all, CFCs don't present like that, so that you don't have to think about that. That's not even in it. So you would not get a mammogram. But if you have sore to the touch, it's discolored, there's no masses, then you had some sort of trauma that you're just not aware of. I'm going to say this one more time because I don't understand. But anyway, I didn't hear you say it the first time. It felt bruised. Now this week, It is so sort of the touch. Huh. So okay, it got traumatized. There's something that happened to it. Now, when you say discoloration, does that mean it's like the same when you have a bruise and it looks kind of bluish, and uh, then it turns green and yellow and goes away? Is that what you're talking about? But so clearly, don't uh, if you don't have to, don't wear bras for a while. You just let it. I don't know what to say about it, but it sounds like you were saying you don't want to get a mammogram. There'd be no reason to get a mammogram. Ever, ever, anybody, ever, never, ever. There's never a reason. Ultrasound, yes. Thermography, yes, but never do irradiate your breast. So, but this is a traumatic event. Pain, discoloration, no mass means some sort of abrasion, a bruise, trauma. So we've got to figure that out. You got to figure that out. All right. So anyway, Heidi. So though, yeah, you're scared that right. That's what they do. Standard of scare. Don't even do that. By the way, those are not CFCs. That's not how they are. They don't present like that. So don't even get rid of that thought. All right. They don't do that. And plus, you're living a really healthy life, so you're not going to get them anyway, right? What specially made for mites still not working? What is? No, no naughty jokes. What naughty jokes? They have ozonated with special machines. It corroded wires. They ozone the car. All right. Well, I don't know. I've ozonated things. I've never seen that. So okay. So you haven't hit it. It's a pinkish. It's a pinkish color, and you don't realize any trauma. When you say pinkish, does it look like little spider, like it's kind of like that, or is it just a big discolored, like an area of pink, or is it little white? It looks like wiry, and it's painful to the touch. That's not. Anyway, it's not CFCs. That's not what they do. You know, pink. The reason I'm saying that is that if you have what's called, there's like they're called spider angiomas. It's where little small blood vessels. Um, it almost looks like a little cobweb or something like that. You see little lines, and it's pink, red, pink, and you know it's that because you press on it, it'll blanch, and then when you take your finger off, it fills up again. So that's that. Um, anyway, if this wasn't, if you could join, well, yeah, take a picture of it. You can take a picture of it without exposing your whole breast and just. But anyway, it doesn't. Listen, it should go away real soon, and if it doesn't, then I would recommend getting an ultrasound if you want to know. But I'm just telling you, CFCs do not present that way. Peroxide mouthwash not to be swallowed in the morning. So you're taking the 6%. You're not going to swallow it because you're rinsing, and you don't want to swallow those microorganisms. You want to spit them out. All right. So I think we last week I asked about pure gum spirits. Your thoughts and advice. Okay. For turpentine, yeah. I mean, again, I think I think that probably worked in the 19th century when we had strong immune systems, but we're just not able now. I think right now in this century, especially, we're all exposed to the weapon, the tower, those weapons, uh, right? Haji, ha. In Thai, the way you say the number five is ha. So, nun, song, sam, si, ha, ha. So haji. So think about haji all over the place. We don't have strong immune systems, so I'm not sure how well it would work at this point. But it has been used for a long time. But I wouldn't rely on it at this point. I would be more, if I didn't want to use any medications, I would go with Hulda Clark's formulas. But yeah. So anyway, you've got this discoloration over here, right? I'm assuming that you've checked your armpit and there's no lumps there, and you just said there's no discharge from the nipple. It's just one area that suddenly appeared a week ago. You don't remember hitting it or hurting it, but it may have happened because pain is one of the four cardinal signs of inflammation: red, hot, swollen, and painful. Red, hot, swollen, and painful are the cardinal signs of acute inflammation. So pain means acute inflammation from some reason. Inflammation is a healing process because there was some damage. Whether that damage was from inside, it was related to colonization by microorganisms or whatever. So anyway, um, and then you could get a an ultrasound if you really, but if you're not feeling it, the most sensitive and best screening test for breasts is self-exam, because you're familiar with your breast. At any change anywhere, you'll know. Whereas somebody else, like a doctor examining you, doesn't is not familiar with your breast the way they feel, right? And so they could miss it, whereas you won't because you know. So women should be in the habit of examining every day when you take a shower. Just get familiar with your breasts and know everything. We should know all about our bodies, right? So we don't can you imagine I'm gonna go see a guy that I don't know and say, hey, how am I doing? That's when we go to a doctor, right? I don't know you, but can you tell me how I am? We should know. In other words, we have to be in touch with who we are. All right. So anyway, listen. Uh, to be continued. We've got to talk about this. They're deep inside the furniture, and fumigation will not work. I've been doing this for a very long time. All right. So if the ozone doesn't work, then and you've got an art now. Wait a minute. So you in your house, you moved out into the RV, but they weren't in the RV, but now they are. I mean, if you listen, if you ozonate a room, what with the heavy ozone, it'll penetrate, and you leave that on for a week. We're not talking about a little ozonator. We're talking about a heavy duty ozone, where you would be in you would die if you could breathe the level of ozone. I don't know anything else that you can penetrate everything. Otherwise, you have to just throw everything out and start all over again. Buying furniture and clothing. All right, you guys. Heidi, let's talk next week. Join the group so we can go. You guys join the groups or one of them. I deserve that answer. My sis had. Okay, sorry. Let me see what is this. My my sis has done all that and still have bird mites under her skin. They still have bird mites under their skin and scalp, itching to death for a year. It has ruined their lives. Cannot go anywhere for fear of. Okay, so wait a minute, Sherry. They've tried ivermectin orally and topically. I mean, ivermectin works with scabies. Scabies is nasty. These guys are in your skin. And I'm not seeing a response, but anyway, oh, Thailand, we're not open. The people's, they took my knowledge and my protocols and my I trained the doctors, I trained everybody, and then they decided to do it another way. So I am in the process of setting up a healing center, and I need to get. I need a. I'm not quite there yet, but sadly, the whole thing that I've been working on for almost 2 years just fell apart. So what happens? The groups are called Health and Healing, or the Parasite Group, or the CFC Group. So just go to drlodi.com, my website, and you'll see there's 3 groups, and you can join them, and then we can talk, right? Because we're gonna, like, tomorrow morning for me, it'll be tomorrow after evening for you. We have a Zoom meeting with the members, and we talk. So you just go to drlodi.com, and then right there it'll be the groups, and you can join the Health and Healing. That's the. I have a neurological balance issue with the sun. Oh, well. So that's what you guys have to join so we can do this, because I'm supposed to. All these people that sent in their. Yeah, you're right. Garlic is, yeah, and eat. What do you call it? Live garlic. Corey, oh no, how irritating and non-ethical. What is? I almost know what you guys are talking about. All right, you guys. Sweaty cop. Sweaty cop. Sweaty cop. Oh, wow. Almost 9:30. Okay. See you next week or tomorrow if you join the groups.